Bro, having glasses is literally the meta of content creation because you can blatantly be looking at your script without having it be a problem. So the liar thinks that he can stop anytime and says in his heart that surely the thief is worse. And the thief thinks in his heart, surely the person I steal from won't notice. Surely the robber is worse, right? And the robber thinks in his heart, well, at least I don't actually, the people that I hurt in order to get this thing. Then the murderer thinks in his heart, but at least I do not tell people to other people in the name of ideologies, politics, and religion. So basically, the excuses got shorter as the crimes got more severe. And this essentially is what happens to a human being as they progress through the extremities of human behavior. And basically, a person will always try to make an excuse for himself and his character to make it seem like he's better than what he's actually doing. Your flaw is another one's crime is the thesis of this video, and this is boiling down to the fact that we as humans try to always have this narrative of us being the good guys in the story that's called our lives in comparison to the other people that we put ourselves against. Then introducing cognitive dissonance. We as human beings, we tend to want to be this good person as it is evolutionarily unfavorable for you to be a person who people would want to work with, right? And if you have solidified this self-image in your mind, your brain will try its hardest to protect that identity, when you do stuff like lying or stealing or doing all these crimes per se, right? Your brain tries to justify it and always puts this action against the context of your current situation, which tries to basically make you as coherent as possible. That's why bad people, right, they try to actually maintain this sort of self-image in their minds that they are still a good person, that they are doing this with about a cause, and stuff like that. Bad things are still bad, right? But it inherently depends on our own inner context and the things that we have going on in our lives. So in cognitive dissonance, we also have something called the comparison game. In order to preserve your own ego, you try to compare yourself to a person who is basically farther along the human extremity than you are. Basically saying that a bad person, like an initial starter DLC bad person, will not compare himself to Mother Teresa or Gandhi or some religious saintly figure, because that is not how the brain works. And with the ladder that I showed you guys in the beginning of the video, it's basically like, if you are doing this one bad thing, you kind of think in terms of, at least I'm not doing this other bigger, badder, bad thing that's affecting this more people in this other way, right? And this is how the brain preserves itself in the thinking that you yourself. Sorry, my camera got caught. But in essence, it is just the same as saying, at least I am not as bad as this, or at least I'm not like him, or at least I'm not as abusive, or at least I'm not like a criminal. Like, you will always compare your own behavior to the ones further along in the human extremities as you, right? A greedy person will be like, oh, at least I'm not as corrupt or as greedy as a politician. Or a person who does bad things will be like, at least I'm not an abuser. Or I could never, this is another one, I could never be as bad as him. I could never do that thing. But that's an entirely different argument, a different rhetorical landscape in and of itself. Then comes the religious aspect of this entire thing, which is basically the devil made me do it. I should probably put that in my thumbnail. But in the sense that when somebody does a bad thing, especially in the religious circles and the religious tradition, we always think that, the devil somehow has like a hand in this, like, demons are tempting me or doing all these things. And it kind of is like a sort of outsourcing of your own moral accountability and your own moral agency, right? And it's a sense that it basically removes the need for growth, because if you are always tempted, if there's always some external force that is doing his best 24/7 to get you into the wrong path, then what part do you actually play in this entire thing? Well, where do you actually grow? Where do you actually take accountability of your actions, right? And some people will say, oh, but it's prayer or whatever. But in this, it's in the sense that why is it that you are blaming your own flaws and characteristics on something that is external? And you know what? Let me not get into that in entirely philosophical argument. But in essence, it is that if I snooze my alarm, if I don't do my cold calls, if I don't do my cold shower, right? If I reject my prayer time and my time to read and I fall back into bad habits, I would be giving the devil too much credit if I said that it was him or anything to do with him. But who knows? That's just my personal opinion. But what I do know for certain is that there's a certain liberty that comes with accountability and taking charge of your actions, right? Doing certain things or falling into bad habits or doing all these things. It's like you can think, oh, the free will causal chain or the, you know, all these things. But in essence, it comes down to, you know, saying that I did this, right? I just did this. And when you start doing that and start taking accountability of your actions, right? Just it's just something about that sort of statement and orientation towards life where sometimes, you know, I ask myself, am I a bad person because I did this thing, right? Or why do I keep doing this thing? Or is this just who I am? Do I just have to, you know, get the clarity after, you know, that? Or am I bad because I skipped out on my prayer? Or am I bad because I do this? But frankly, I have no idea. I do not know the answer to that question, but I do know that I have some choice and you have some choice in the things that you are, you know, doing. But like I said, you could also think, you know, the causal chain or your neural wiring or your environment, your childhood, your genetics, the social conditioning, the position of the earth perpendicular to the constellation Sagittarius and everything that has made you, right? You can acknowledge that there are outside external forces, but surrendering completely to it is a no-go. Sometimes, you know, sometimes in order to wake up early in the morning, you just have to put your phone down and sleep by 9 p.m., right? And you could do that, or you could wake up in the morning and drink some Red Bull with a pump of misery. But back to the thesis of the video. Your flaw is another man's crime. The thief thinks that the liar... No, the liar thinks that the thief is worse. The thief thinks that the robber is worse. The robber thinks that the murderer is worse. The murderer thinks that a politician or a general is worse because they do all these bad things. But the truth is that everyone has a person morally beneath them. And your flaw might be another person's crime. You know what? What a saint thinks you do on a normal, regular Tuesday might be something so unforgivable to them, right? And that is just the truth of the matter. You do not need to be the worst person alive in order for you to examine yourself and to take better actions. Is it I am evil, or is it did I do something wrong? You know, this is the essential question for thinking, because a lot of people take things too fatalistic or too deterministic in a sense that they think that they are not, or they are their actions, where you kind of are, but you kind of aren't at the same time. I can choose to, you know, be lazy, or I don't know, be some cokehead, right, for 3 years, and then I become clean, and then I turn my life around and I make an, like, you are not the things that you are doing, right? You are someone with agency, with ability to change, hopefully, if you don't have anything wrong with your neural wiring. But who knows, right? I mean, maybe there is a devil, maybe there isn't. Maybe half of the things that we think are temptations are just us being stupid and us having our human nature act out, or I don't know, right? Like, when I don't forget to wake up in the morning and I snooze my alarm, I could not possibly blame the devil, right? I could not sit there for 6 hours thinking about my counterattack plan, right? You could just choose to put down your phone and sleep. Or, you know, you get some red. I already said this. But in essence, that is the entire video. Hope you are having a great, fantastic day. And who knows, you know, I'm just getting on the internet with the sunglasses that I love. This is just an alter ego. I'm just trying it out, see how it affects for my channel. And I'm seeing a lot of benefits with this so far. So anyways, thank you for watching the video.